Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Gulp.
We're not doing the previous episode still.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
That's right, baby. It's the final episode of FANAGAR for this year.
Holy shit.
So, as is tradition, this episode is dedicated to the winner of the FANAGAR Tournament of Pandering. And the winner this year, the tournament was all storylines from solo titles, team titles, crossovers.
Solo titles.
Solo.
Yeah.
And the winner...
Gagnon.
Winner. Gagnon. With a lot of, sort of grassroots support was DC Young Animal Milk Wars.
Grassroots, eh?
Yeah.
Was it cows?
Yeah, it was cows. Cows voted for this. Yeah. No.
Vote.
Hey, who voted for this? So like largely like a Doom Patrol kind of story.
Yeah.
An event called Milk Wars. For some reason, a big thing behind the votes here was the false promise that I would chug milk during this episode.
Oh.
Which I absolutely refuse to do.
What's those bottles?
Well, I'm not going to chug anything, but...
Certainly not milk.
No, definitely not milk. But I did buy 2 flavored milk to-goes.
Oh. And you're going to chug those?
Shake them. No, you're going to have one.
Oh, though I'm like notoriously lactose intolerant.
They didn't have an oat one. I looked.
Okay, so I just have
now
to
you
do
just
this.
have to do it.
Do I at least get a choice?
So you got a choice. So the 2 flavors that I got.
Yeah.
There's a there's a strawberry one.
Uh-huh.
There's a banana one.
It's going to be strawberry then.
You don't want banana milk?
I don't like banana.
Open wide for some banana milk.
I don't like bananas.
Oh. Okay.
Did you really wanted the strawberry? You shouldn't have bought that both then.
Fine, I'll have banana milk.
You shouldn't have given me an option.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, according to this label, it's made with fresh milk.
Oh, great.
Here you go.
Open up wide and take your banana milk.
Yeah.
Peel it back and suck it down with your reverse suck machine.
Listen, you can milk anything. And in this case, they milked banana.
Oh, I don't. So I haven't had straight up milk in years.
Well, you're welcome. I did look for something similar for oat milk, but they didn't. And
then just decided this is still what we were doing.
Yeah. It was no longer easy, and so I put no more effort in.
That's so unlike you, though.
Yeah. So, Nostroya.
But maybe not the right language to be using right now.
No, I think I'm on the right side of history there. All right, here we go. That's definitely banana flavored milk.
Yep, that's why I didn't take it, because I don't like I don't like banana or milk on a good
Here's the thing. I like fake banana flavor, but I don't like milk.
Why are you doing this?
Because I thought it'd be funny, maybe. I don't know. But now I'm realizing no one can even see us drinking it. I'm just quietly disapproving of this thing I bought.
Yep.
I'm just going to keep drinking it through
It's like me with a cock ring.
Oh, man. The aftertaste on that, too. Of all the banana aftertastes, this is my least favorite.
I sure chugged that. You can just not drink it. It's okay.
No, they'd know. They'd know. This is my milk war.
Welcome to Race Wars.
Yeah. We invented it. Milk Wars, we invented it. Yeah, our production company is called One Milk.
Is that for one race?
Yeah. That's what Vince's production company is called.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I think he means it in like
No, I know.
the nice way, but
like racing cars?
No, like, well, I think it's meant to be a pun because most of his movies are fast movies.
Yes.
But it's meant to be like we're all one human community, you know, like one race.
As a man who represents all races, he can't be imagining white.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah. His production company is called One Race. The iconic race from the Fast franchise is called Race Wars.
One Race Wars.
Yeah. At any rate, we're talking Milk Wars. Which means we under God.
Indivisible by cows.
Indivisible by percentage.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. That's specifically divisible.
Yeah, by cream.
Yeah. So we read it.
Okay, be honest.
I read it.
Did you actually finish it?
I milked all over
because you got to, life gets in the way sometimes. And then today you were like, do I have to read all of it? I was like, yes.
That's obviously not what I said. What I said was, what's your Comixology password? And you said that doesn't bode well.
Oh, no, I said that. But then later,
what I said was, how much do I have to read of it?
Yeah, hang on. You got in, and then you said, am I reading the entire thing?
Well, because you said 5 or 6 issues, and I didn't know what that meant.
And then you said, oof, okay, I'll see what I can get through.
Yeah. and instead of working, all I did today was read this comic.
That's the kind of dedication to the show
I used to have.
We haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, it's been years.
I like it.
Yeah.
This feels like a warm blanket.
Yeah, I did my expense reports, and I read a comic today.
I like that. So, had you ever read this? I mean, it's come up a couple of times on the podcast, but
we gave this away for a prize once.
We did. Have you ever read this or any of it before?
No.
All right. No. Well, broadly, what did you think? What's your impression of it? We can go through some of the broader story points, but just generally, what did you think of this?
I mean, it's Morrison, right?
No,
it's Way being Morrison.
It's Steve Orlando and Gerard Way, and then a bunch of other creative teams on other books.
It feels very. I think that's why, because it felt very Morrison-y.
It is.
It feels like
in some ways, yeah.
It feels like he's using it. What's the word? When a thing is meaning to be a different thing, like not an analogy, but
like a metaphor.
A metaphor. Yeah, that's the word.
Okay.
It's like, it feels like a metaphor. I mean, it most certainly is a metaphor for like capitalism.
Oh,
and then like every other Morrison book, like the issues that like an artist has to deal with to get his thing published, right?
Yeah, so, and it is very much about like the meta relationship of like their reality.
It's art and commerce.
That they are fiction. Yeah, art and commerce. Yes, you're right. Those are like very Morrison-y themes.
Yes, and so I think that's the whole thing. I was just like, this just feels like a Morrison book.
Yes, totally.
Even with the like,
it's got a little bit more, I'd say, like fun energy than Morrison has. Like to me, my opinion of it is that it's similar themes but more accessible. Not that it's like less complicated, but that it's just like it's more fun to read and a little easier to follow. To me,
I wouldn't find it that either of those. It feels very much like a Morrison read to me.
Oh, weird. See, yeah, I don't. Morrison reads feel more serious to me than this.
I didn't really get what was going on until maybe like 2/3 through the book.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is.
Right.
But yeah, it's clearly just like how do you create art that's accessible without falling victim to like capitalism, which is like cool.
Yeah.
I've read enough of that stuff in the last few years, especially through DC.
Sure.
There's a lot of that shit, especially Morrison. So it's like good. I think when it came out, it was probably better. I think I'm a little fatigued on that specific trope.
Sure, fair enough.
It's weird in a way that, like, what was that anthology series you really liked? Ice Cream Man.
Oh yeah,
got a bit of a vibe of that. I think just because of
certainly in some of like the kind of pastel-y colors, and like a big part of the story of this is about the quote homogenization of reality.
Yes,
and the way that gets churned out is a sort of like 50s Leave It to Beaver kind of aesthetic and sensibility. And
I think the
like
problem
that.
is also like that's a trope that I'm sort of over too, which is like when things are like when people are turned into robots, it's all 1950s, and it's like I get it, but it's like a little overdone.
Sure.
And then I think that and maybe a lot of that stuff is taking from this. Like I don't know the timelines well enough, but
yeah, fair enough.
But when did this come out?
2015,
Sure.
2014.
Sure. So maybe not. It feels like it's like putting out a zombie book now, right? Like it's a bit like, all right. It's fun, beautiful artwork.
Yeah, great art.
The artwork obviously like changes throughout it.
Yeah, so
and represents like the different stories, and
so this wasn't like it wasn't like Milk Wars 1 to 6.
Yeah.
There are 2 kind of one-shot specials that bookend it, and then there were these like it was going across it was a crossover between like the Young Animal imprint that Gerard Way was in charge of. So books like Mother Panic or Cave Carson Has a Cybernetic Eye, stuff like that, Shade the Changing Girl, and then like teaming up with more mainstream DC characters.
I like the one shots a lot more than the center stuff personally.
Right.
Maybe that's the artwork. Maybe it's the storytelling. I don't really know.
Sure.
I did feel like the storytelling was a bit disjointed the way that it was happening. I think that the characters are really fun.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the characters. I like. If I pull back for all of the like exhaustion and stuff like that, like I do like the concept. I think that it's interesting. Yeah. It's a decent book. I think that it's a little weird.
So the story broadly is that there's this extra dimensional company called Retcon with 2 N's, and they exist in a place called Final Heaven, and they're trying to sell off the reality of Prime Earth.
Yes.
Now, they had shown up in the Doom Patrol book, and they had been fighting a bit, and they're like, Prime Earth isn't worth it, we're going to sell it off. But to make it an easier sell, we're going to homogenize this reality. Yes. We're going to make it palatable, lowest common denominator. No one can take issue with it. It's not going to be weird. It'll be like real easy to digest. And they do that by... they have created a sort of false Superman called Milkman Man, who goes and he forces people to drink this milk that kind of makes them part of the way Retcon wants the reality to be. The Doom Patrol is there to kind of save the day. They end up kind of freeing Justice Leaguers as they go, and ultimately it's a battle for like the state of reality, and there's a sort of meta layer about like what is objectionable or what is palatable, and censorship, and you know, art and commerce. Yes. Those big themes. Retcon's trying to sell, ultimately trying to sell the reality to Mr. Nebula.
Oh, I thought it was MegaCon.
Well, MegaCon is representing Mr. Nebula.
Oh.
We see Mr. Nebula only briefly near the end. Mr. Nebula is a character that is sort of meant to be like a joke version of Galactus. He's meant to be like a cosmic like designer. And his herald was the Scarlet Skier, who is the archenemy of Gnort. So that just to put some context around how silly that character is. And MangaCon was sort of this like pastiche of like a business person, someone looking for a deal, all these kind of things.
There is some like I will say all of the Retcon sort of stuff felt very like almost like Tom King-ish the way it was written.
Sure. Yeah.
That's like just like the style felt very similar to that.
Yeah, interesting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a lot about like the nature of superheroes, the nature of story, the nature of reality in this book. Ultimately, of course, they save the day, but it's mostly it's a team up set of stories between the mainstream kind of DC universe Justice Leaguers
and the Doom Patrol,
and Shade the Changing Girl.
Yes,
and all the kind of weirder Young Animal ones, Cave Carson, Mother Panic.
Totally.
Yeah. I really like this book.
Yes,
I've read it. I've read it a bunch. I mean, I was fine with it winning. I think people thought I didn't want to do this, which, jokes on you, I made the tournament. I would have liked to have done the Starman story that made it to the final, but I liked this book. The thing that I like the most in it is when they start talking about like Milkman Man himself and the idea of superheroes.
The fact that like Batman can be easily changed and Wonder Woman could be easily changed, but Superman can't be.
Yeah, so there's this concept that's in the Doom Patrol arc leading up to this, where you learn that Retcon has this, or had this being called All, AHL,
Yeah.
who's the god of superheroes.
Yeah.
And he's an idea that's sewn into the earth through kind of complicated timey-wimey kind of stuff.
Yes.
But he's essentially like a primordial idea about superheroes that's in this reality. It's woven into the fabric of reality. And that there's kind of they make the Trinity into this sort of like arbitrary, like 3 kind of interpretations of that idea.
Yes.
There's a Batman one and a Wonder Woman one and a Superman one. So yeah, Batman and Wonder Woman, they succumb to the milk. Batman becomes a character called Father Bruce, who is this sort of like weird religious, you know, like leading like children's choir kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman becomes Wonder Wife, who's like the most anti-feminist kind of like what a horrible fate for Wonder Woman kind of thing. But Superman can't succumb to the milk. The bit that I've never been clear on is where Superman is during this.
I thought it is Superman.
No. Milkman Man is artificial.
Oh,
he's
that's right.
Fake Superman. Created from a nothing that shouldn't exist. So 2 characters who technically don't exist have a baby. So it's a thing that even more doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Retcon takes that. They program him to be almost Superman, but under their control. He's Milkman Man. He has Superman's powers, but he's theirs to control. And they shoot him at Prime Earth. So instead of leaving Krypton, he leaves Final Heaven. He gets shot at Earth. We get a bit in this book where they do the classic Superman thing is like doomed planet, concerned scientists, lovely parents, blah blah blah, whatever, to describe Superman's origin. But in this, it's like doomed corporation, like failed prophets, whatever, and they make Milkman Man as their kind of emissary. So he's sort of like the main, next to Retcon, he's one of the main antagonists of this. And his mother, Casey Brink, is a member of the Doom Patrol who herself is not real. She's a fictional character from a comic Danny made.
Yes.
That comes to life.
Yes, we've talked about this before, yeah.
And the other parent of Milkman Man is Terry Nunn, the child of Mr. Nobody.
So, you know what? I'll wait till we get to an actual question about it because I have some specific thoughts about this.
All right.
But why don't we get into the questions?
Quick. Just instinct. How many capes?
3.75.
3.75.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's not bad.
No,
I'll take that.
That's sort of where it's not something that like is stuck with me. I think that like the art's good, but the story's fine.
Yeah, this one's a 4 to me, I think.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I like it.
All right, let's go over to Facebook.
Going to the face in the book, going to the Facebook.
First question comes from
some more fucking milk.
I can't. My stomach's already not happy.
You did this.
Yeah. Like, fucking just suck back your banana milk.
Like the initial flavor of banana is like, oh, it's like candy banana, and that's okay. And then you remember it's milk, and then you go, ugh. And then it's like too sweet. You're like drinking condensed milk.
Gross.
Ugh.
Stop.
At the bottom it says 1% banana partly skimmed milk, as if this was a thing.
Yeah.
Like banana milk was a thing.
Yeah. It's not.
Or they use the banana to skim it.
Banana skimmed.
Yeah, I don't.
Just when you took your banana, just sort of like stroked it through the milk.
I mean, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. All right. First question. Stop drinking it. Stop looking like that when you do it. First question comes from the senator,
James Wilson.
That's right. Who asks,
"Please release me."
Release me. How many poor cows lost their lives during this event?
See, so here's the interesting thing.
Do you think milking kills cows?
Well, the way they do it.
Yeah.
No. Here's the interesting thing. I don't think we actually see where the milk comes from.
Wing.
Like, I think it's just something added to milk.
Sure. Yeah.
More or less. It's not like a certain entity.
Sure.
That they're milking.
Though there is that weird thing with udders that they see, don't they?
Oh no, that's true. Maybe it is that. Maybe some people get turned into those and then they milk them.
Nice. Is there like a table that they use?
No, you're right. There's that weird shit, and they like call it grandma in like the first thing. We never really come back to that.
No, we don't.
Huh. Yeah, I think actually cows get away scot-free. It's people that have a problem with this milk.
Can you like volunteer to be that thing, or
yeah.
If I wanted
is there like a table for it, or
so no cows. Cows are fine.
I think cows actually make it out relatively unscathed.
Yeah, it's grandma that you have to worry about.
Yeah. Time to milk grandma.
Let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Oh wait, I thought we were on Facebook.
Yeah.
Was there nothing on Twitter?
That's what I said.
That's Twitter.
Sorry, I'm just being told that my disk thing is getting too full, so I gotta delete some stuff. So hold on.
I'm difficult to deal with or something.
So we're going over to Twitter.
That's Twitter. Like no time has passed.
First.
Yep, first. What's first?
Well, maybe I want to go to second.
Who rixed in?
Who first did a question?
Who first did a rice?
First question comes from Cactuar David.
Okay.
Who asks, I know nothing about this event, so I have to ask, why is the Trinity dressed like that?
Yeah, so this is the main events of this happen in a place called Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, which is a location we return to a lot in DC. It's where Mount Justice is. It's one of the bases the Justice League have had. The Hall of Justice is usually somewhere like Metropolis or Washington, D.C. or something, but Mount Justice was also a base of theirs. We see it in the Young Justice cartoon and stuff like that, and that's in Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. And that is where Batman's Justice League of America, which is the Justice League implicated here, operates out of. So that team includes Lobo, Black Canary, Vixen, the Atom, or the Ray, a few other characters.
Weird that Lobo's part of the Justice League of America.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but Batman roped him in.
Sure.
But at any rate,
Stitch.
Batman and Wonder Woman, like we said, part of the idea of this story is that Batman and Wonder Woman, though kind of archetypal, are still susceptible to they can be messed with. There's sort of a meta commentary on this.
Well, so this is the question that I had.
That they're slightly more malleable characters. And Superman is an idea that, like, when you start fucking with him, he stops being Superman. You know what I mean?
Well, this is what I was going to ask, which is like, is the commentary one like Wonder Woman's her worst when she was made basically into like just like a 50s idea of like a housewife.
Yes.
Which she went through a huge thing in like the 60s, right?
Well, like 50s and 60s, the sort of Kanigher era is not great for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly. And then Batman has become sort of like the Church of Batman, and I think like everyone sort of like bows down and prays to the Church of Batman, and I'm assuming that's the commentary.
I don't know if it's 100% that, but I think that's a fair reading of it.
Yeah.
And that's certainly in there. And I think what the story is saying is that like the real heart of DC is a character like Superman. It's
wholesome.
Well, I mean, all of those things, but also just like iconic, unassailable, kind of like a deity in a way. And you can't bring him down to you can't homogenize that away.
Yeah.
Because that is like an ideal. It is something like out of the like if the point is to make something that is like unoffensive or whatever, you have these kind of things that are like smoothing out the edges that like, you know, Batman as Father Bruce is kind of just like, no, we're just going to take your pain away and no one's going to have any trauma.
Sure,
But you know what I mean? No trauma, nothing to see here. And then Wonder Woman's thing is like, we just we stay out of the way. We do our,
you make me happy,
whatever. And you make me happy. And that's great. And then, but for Superman requires like us to do something. It requires some buy-in or some work.
Yeah.
he's aspirational, right? And I think part of it is the idea that you can't smooth that out.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, you can't smooth out Batman or Wonder Woman either. It's a story, but I think that's more or less the kind of point that they make there. So Batman gets milked. Well, no, he doesn't get milked. Batman has milk foisted on him and becomes Father Bruce, this character that is, they put people in a machine and it robs their trauma from them, and then they kind of become these sort of mindless acolytes. He has this like church choir of Robins, basically.
It is very funny. It's all like the different types of Robins. Though they did say a weird thing about Christmas that I didn't get, but
I don't remember that offhand.
Yeah, that's it. They're like someone saving Christmas or something. And I'm like, what?
Oh, well, someone says something about the war on Christmas at one point.
Yeah, sure.
That's in the Mother Panic story, because Mother Panic is based in Gotham. So Mother Panic kind of confronts Father Bruce in that part of the story. Wonder Woman becomes Wonder Wife. Shade the Changing Girl has the majority of interactions with Wonder Wife, and
she's like become like an underling of hers, I guess.
Well, and Shade the Changing Girl is also split like like Teen Titans Go style into like fundamental emotions, like angry, happy, lovey, sad, that kind of thing. And until eventually can basically snap Wonder Woman out of it.
Yeah.
But that's why they look like that. And then, of course, Superman is absent from this. And again, it's probably in here, but I don't remember how. But they couldn't change Superman, so they made a fake one.
Yes.
And that is Milkman Man.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from our favorite religious representative,
Chris Chan.
Or Bat Chan.
What?
Because it's a religious representative.
Holy shit.
That's right.
That was good.
I know.
Hey.
Don't
cheers.
Stop.
Cheers.
I'm not drinking anymore. I'm already not feeling good. I already feel like I'm going to shit my pants.
Oh, I feel like I'm going to shit your pants.
I don't like that.
Ugh.
I'll eat a bunch of Brussels sprouts for that.
Why did I pick banana milk?
That's on you, buddy. I like you fully expected me to choose banana. I don't know why.
I wanted you to choose banana.
Yeah. Shouldn't have given me an option. Shouldn't have bought banana milk.
Should have bought the cookies and cream one.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I've never had banana milk. Thought it'd be a fun novelty.
Nope.
I was wrong.
You knew it the second I chose strawberry.
Oh
man, I am not feeling good.
Hey, have some more. Maybe that'll maybe that'll soothe your tum-tum.
Maybe it's a fight fire with fire situation.
There's a whole thing of Tums right here. Take some of those and have another swig.
I also have not dairy pills in the cupboard.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. It's like, no, just don't drink it.
No, this is happening.
Whether I like it or not.
We hid his dairy pills in the cheese.
Yeah. He's got to eat his way to them. Or he could just not eat the cheese.
No.
And then he won't need them.
Then he wouldn't get the dairy pills.
Yeah, but then he would
You sound like an idiot right
now. Anyways, Chris asks, which told it better, Final Crisis or Milk Wars? What?
I think what he means is talking about the sort of the meta levels about storytelling and reality and art and commerce and things like that. Final Crisis had stuff ranging from Super Young Team and being a very kind of corporatized sort of thing to the big meta story of Superman, Superman Beyond, to the Monitors, right? The Monitors are meant to kind of be this sort of publisher editorial kind of influence. There's a whole meta story of Final Crisis that is about storytelling, about Mandrak is sucking basically the multiverse dry of story and stuff, right? And just feeding off of it like a vampire. So both Milk Wars and Final Crisis have different versions of that kind of metafiction piece. Personally, I don't know that I'm fence sitting, but I don't know that I'd say one is better than the other, but I think they're fundamentally after different things. To me, Final Crisis, even though some of those themes are in there, is a lot less about this some of the themes are in there, especially with the monitors, but I think it's a lot less about the kind of like the corporate side of it, and it's just more about just like the interference in art. Now, obviously, in the real world, that comes from it being a corporate practice. But Milk Wars, like the focus is more on the like what capitalism itself is.
Yes,
I feel like Final Crisis is less about capitalism, maybe more about just corporate comics.
It's also trying to do
Milk
a lot
Wars
more.
is like Milk Wars has more of like a like art under capitalism. It's not just comics, you know what I mean? And I think there's a broader thing in there. You know, especially like right now when we're seeing all this shit with like streamers removing like stuff's like not going to see the light of day anymore because it's a tax write-off, or you know, like Warner Brothers like selling some of its like iconic fucking like licensing and shit like that. Is like it all seems so short-sighted. It's so bad for art.
Yeah.
You know, Milk Wars to me feels like it speaks to those ideas and those feelings better than Final Crisis does to me. But both have something to say about the idea of creating art under circumstances that are not ideal for the creation of art, you know?
So I think that I think Final Crisis is doing a lot more than just a commentary on those things. So I think like if you're taking the question like literally like who's doing that better, you might say Milk Wars.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. It's maybe a bit more direct about it, which is not necessarily better, but it's certainly more easily digestible.
Yeah.
And this is back to me saying like I actually think if you were like, should I give my friend Milk Wars to read or Final Crisis? And those are the only two options. I'd give them Milk Wars. Like, it's not weird, and it's not meta and kind of strange in its own way, but I think it's a bit more linear. They kind of walk you through it a bit more. There's a little bit more like assistance. Final Crisis kind of like plunks you in the deep end, and you've got to learn how to swim, you know?
Yeah. All right, let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
No, don't drink. Stop. No, the shaking, it's not going to help.
What if I shake the flavor?
No, it's not going to. Stop drinking it. This is like watching Dumbledore have to drink that water so he can get to the thing. I'm going to have to start pouring it down your throat.
Whatever I do, I must finish
this
banana milk, Harry. It's just chugging of milk to go.
I don't want to drink any more banana milk.
You have to, sir. No, you can't make me. Did you put your name in the milk to go?
Did you put the banana in the milk?
Yeah, fuck, damn it. That was a better one. Shit. Fuck. The milk's gotten to me, man.
All right. The only question from Instagram comes from copy_801, who asks, on a scale of 1 to Grant Morrison, how confusing was this during your first read-through? I will say that for me, it took me about 2/3 of the way through to get like a understanding of what actually is going on. Right. I think like diving in, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, it's another one of these fucking things, like where I'm like no context for it, feeling like I'm getting like a cold dunk.
Sure. I mean, I think this is more accessible than a lot of Morrison stuff. I mean, certainly my experience of it is like, I think I mostly got it on first read. That's not to say I'm not finding new, like I'm definitely getting more out of it every time I read it. But like there are some instances of Morrison stuff where like I've read it 2 times and I go, nope, not yet. Like I'm not there yet. So I mean I think it's definitely a little bit more accessible. I hate the word accessible because it implies that it's like not as intelligent or something. I don't think that's true. I think it's operating on all the same levels as the best of those kind of meta stories that Morrison writes. But this one does feel like it does. There's like a trail of breadcrumbs to follow, and I like they use the Justice League well in that, like, when they're in there, they're like, we don't normally handle weird stuff. This is weird stuff.
Yeah.
And then the Doom Patrol goes, watch it alert. Or like, I think you have like a little bit of window that way. That is helpful.
But that's what you like. The Doom Patrol's like, we don't really do superhero stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the Mother Panic, I'd say the two chapters that are probably the densest and hardest are the Mother Panic Father Bruce one.
Yeah.
And the Shade the Changing Girl Wonder Wife one, where you don't have that. Because even the Cave Carson and Swamp Thing at one point infiltrate Retcon. They're in Final Heaven, they're in Retcon headquarters, and they're kind of disrupting stuff in there. And that's a relatively action-y kind of story.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I'd say the hardest chapters are the ones where you don't have like a main superhero. Like Swamp Thing kind of fulfills the role of main superhero in that Cave Carson story.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the stories where you don't have like a main one, the Mother Panic one and the Shade the Changing Girl one, are the hardest parts of it, you know, which is sort of an indicator of how the story uses those characters to guide you along, I think.
Definitely. Okay, let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit,
where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's right. And first question comes from Never Say Die, Iron Joker 33.
Holy shit. Feels like that's been a while.
It's been so long. It's been a while
since I've gone chug this milk.
No.
Just like I always
don't do it. Oh, no.
It's been a while, but all the shit.
Yeah, take your milk down.
Everything I can remember is fucked up as it all may seem.
Iron Joker 33 asks, what series of events led up to this horrific event, both in universe and in our own?
Do you mean
like this isn't good?
I got the sense on Reddit that like people don't like this.
Really?
Like don't like it.
Oh, I don't get that. Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
If you mean horrific event as in like what a horrible event, I disagree.
Yeah.
If you mean horrific, like, oh my God, look what they did to Wonder Woman or something like that, then that's kind of fun hyperbole. What led up to this? So, in the Gerard Way Doom Patrol run, in the second volume, which is called Nada, you follow Terry, you learn about Terry Nunn and stuff like that. And Terry Nunn and Casey Brink have a moment where they kiss and Terry Nunn becomes inexplicably pregnant. And again, these are both characters that are technically nothing, and they've created you can't make something from nothing, so there's a double nothing. Retcon has captured that. Retcon is in that story, and the Doom Patrol is fighting them a bit. And Retcon, they're what do they call reality estate?
Okay. Yes.
They buy and sell realities or whatever.
Yes.
And they were trying to do that, and now they're decided they're going to homogenize Prime Earth to sell it off on the cheap. They take the child of Casey Brink and Terry Nunn. And that's what becomes Milkman Man. The other piece of this is that Retcon kind of owns all the God of Superheroes. There's a sort of convoluted time thing where all goes back to the beginning of time and infuses the essence of the idea of superheroes into the universe, which then inspires Retcon later to make a God of Superheroes. So like he kind of
okay,
like Barry Allen was the lightning, sort of like they kind of there's a sort of that sort of thing. But all gets killed. And there's a comment made offhand where they say like, "What do you have any weaknesses?" And All says, like a brick that can think. He's just saying like nothing can hurt me. And someone uses Danny in brick form and kills him. He gets hit with a brick that can think, and he dies.
Wow.
So then all is dead. So all of that kind of happens in Doom Patrol leading up to this. Now, there are characters on other adventures, and that like Cave Carson, Mother Panic, Shade the Changing Girl. I think there's a little lead up in each of their things, but for the most part, the big lead up is Doom Patrol. In terms of actual like events leading to Milk Wars.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's just we're just bringing characters from the Young Animal line in and sort of pairing them off with main continuity characters.
So, otherwise, there's no other reason why it happened.
Well, I mean, other than like it's fun and this is why I feel like this question is like I hate this.
It does feel like that.
You know what I mean? Which is like, if that's your reaction, that's fine. I just disagree. I think it's like a fun, good story. Yeah. I guess out of universe, the reason would be that the Young Animal stuff, while technically in continuity, was always kind of sequestered a little bit, you know, because it's all the weird corners of things. You know, we've got the M vest and the whole shade thing over here, and you know, Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye is like off on its own kind of weird thing. Doom Patrol's always off on its thing, and so from a publishing perspective, it's fun to kind of like let's bring the weight of some of these mainstream characters, maybe get some people interested in some of these other things, and then also by conversely, let's bring some of like the more interesting kind of storytelling ideas or different kind of art or different approaches in that. And let's apply those to some of our more mainstream characters in a kind of fun, interesting way. And that's sort of what's in here, because you end up with like your adversaries are retcon, but then you also have things from like Mr. Nebula and MangaCon come from like JLI era, kind of like that's like regular DC, silly DC, but regular DC.
Sure.
You know, and so you are kind of doing these sort of pairings all the way through the story. So I just think that's fun. But yeah, I sort of feel like that Iron Joker doesn't dig this story.
Yeah. Next question.
Okay.
From OKLinks862.
All right.
Who asks, I guess I'm the only one that likes this event, but would you want a series that gives more info on the concepts of All or Final Heaven? Or would you rather it be kept in the periphery?
I don't really need to know that much more about either of those, really. I mean, All is an interesting idea, the God of Superheroes thing, especially in the context of like, that timey-wimey origin for All is a good metaphor of like that idea of myth and stuff like that is bigger than anyone, and it's always existed. But then the idea that specifically this kind of foundational idea of the superhero is like a corporate thing. This is a sellable thing.
Yeah.
It's not 100% the genesis of those things in real life, but it's also not part of it, you know?
Yeah.
I find that stuff interesting. And, you know, there's probably another take or another way to use that. I'm not saying that we've covered all the ground.
But
I don't know that I look at it and I go like, oh, what spoiled territory. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's some interesting stuff there. I think if we ever revisited it, it would be more interesting to see Superman maybe put into the role of God of Superheroes, a sort of like ascension kind of piece. And maybe retcon isn't part of it because they've been dealt with, but that, you know, something needs to finally ascend to that. And maybe that's Superman.
Sure.
You know, Clark does that. And then we've already got John as Superman to be regular. Superman in real life is that. That is the prototypical superhero.
Yeah.
So he really should be the God of superheroes in a way. That, I think, might be interesting, but do I need to see All for that? Not necessarily. Do I need more of Final Heaven as like a space? Not really.
It's not like a mental health facility for superheroes. A missed opportunity.
Yeah. Now, see, Sanctuary?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, tread carefully, but I'd want a do-over.
Yes.
Because there's good stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I'd want a do-over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's leave.
Man, look at you dropping Heroes in Crisis like it's fucking nothing.
Whatever. Hey. No,
Cheers,
I'm not
man.
drinking. No, neither
Good
of
for
us.
You. I'm doing this for you.
I'm holding myself back from shitting my pants right now. I am not.
Is it that instant?
Yes.
Is that little milk required to do it?
Yes. I'm lactose intolerant.
Yeah, but are you like fast lactose
I just don't want to see
intolerant?
milk get married.
Lactose intolerant.
Oh. Like, I keep farting over here, and I'm slightly concerned every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that bad, quick.
Yeah.
Do you want me to get your dairy pill?
No, it's too late.
I'll put it in the milk.
No, I could just drink it without it.
No.
Gotta go through the milk. Yeah. How else are you gonna wash it down?
Yeah. It puts the milk on its skin, or else it gets the pill again.
Oh, what?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
I think if it's on the skin, then I don't have to worry about taking the pill.
Oh. Huh. Interesting.
I mean that in a multitude of ways.
This is a legitimate question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to take the pill beforehand? Or if you ate pizza and you were like, ah, shit, I overestimated
I think you're supposed
could you take the pill and
I
then
think you're supposed
to
take it beforehand. Yeah.
So we'll just give you 2.
I don't know if that's how that works.
Works twice as well.
Yeah.
That's how pills work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's how pills work. In the sense that more is more strong.
Yeah, more is better.
I didn't say that.
I feel like we're saying the same thing.
All right, we're leaving Reddit and heading over to the Discord.
Oh, shit. Fuck.
Which you're prepared for.
Come, Mr. Milkman me banana. Doc scored, come, man, we want to go home.
You're making me sick looking at you do that.
I don't like it.
That was really good.
Thank you.
That was fucking
problematic song to pick.
Well, let's not dig too deep into that. Let's not skim the milk too deep with that banana, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Don't. We got it.
Listen, there's one side of me that liked that comment and one side that didn't. I'm half and half about it.
Yeah, there's clearly one joke that neither of us are making, and it's good.
I refuse to be the first one to go there.
I'm glad that
I will not. You know how I feel about 2%.
2%.
Was that Bernie? Are you doing a Bernie Sanders? Yeah. There's also 1% milk. I just said 1% banana, partly skimmed milk.
1% banana.
It's not a terrible Bernie.
Yeah. It's enough.
But it's also barely decipherable as an impression.
Well, 1%. Because that's all you need. 1% milk. Yeah, banana.
What's the first question from the dog scored? You fucking maniac.
First question the first question comes from.
Wow. Yeah, nice. I think you've lost it.
Yeah, maybe. The first question.
1,000,000%
milk. What? Are you fucking kidding me? 1 million milk. Could have said percent. The thing we were just doing.
I don't know what happened. I was trying to say percent.
And you just said milk. 1 million milk. I was driving the other day and doing that impression.
Oh, this banana milk's going to my head.
Yeah, it's going to my fucking ass.
Yeah.
And not the way I want.
Easy.
Multi Sanchez asks, how do you feel about Mother Panic in Milk Wars? I really liked her series, but I felt like there was she was a bit out of place in the event. Also, what was the weird organic thing at the beginning? Yeah, the weird milk thing.
Great question about the weird organic thing at the beginning. Possibly a milk source?
Yeah. It said it had udders. That's all I remember.
Yeah. The real question here is
it grandma?
Can you milk your grandma?
Yeah.
1 million grandma. Mother Panic, I'm assuming you've never encountered that character before.
No.
So Mother Panic, that book takes place in Gotham. And the character herself was sort of like a abused, traumatized character. She has like some like superhuman like enhancements that give her like increased strength and stuff like that. But essentially, like her mother has some kind of mental illness. She ended up in this like home where she was experimented on and shit. And then her big mission is basically like retribution against the people that like wronged her and other children. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, Mother Panic is a pretty natural pairing.
Mother Panic's got some pretty naturals.
Easy. No. Mother Panic
you
is
think you could milk her?
No. Mother Panic is a pretty good pairing for Batman, a character also defined by trauma in Gotham.
Yes.
And then when you add to that, like the layer of that, the homogenized version of Batman is about like robbing his trauma, right? And he has this machine that like takes the trauma away from kids. And Mother Panic kind of does. There is this kind of moment where even Mother Panic is like, can I exist without that part of me? And it's like, no, you have to own it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I actually think like it's very clever. It's a clever pairing and a clever way to work those stories together.
Clever pairs.
Easy.
Nostrils.
Easy. I liked the Mother Panic book, but it wasn't like it wasn't like my favorite thing ever. I think this crossover works well. I like Mother Panic in this event, but I don't know necessarily, other than the part of me that just likes seeing random characters pop up, or that just so we know we haven't forgotten about them.
Yeah,
that's a thing I like in books. Other than that, I don't know that I'm like scrambling to see more Mother Panic in DC. You know what I mean? Like, I just have that thing where I hate when an idea is totally forgotten. I don't love that. So I like when someone's like, oh yeah, and I'll put them in here, or they'll show up here. Yeah. Which is why I'm a lot more content with like a lot like there's people out there who have their favorite characters and like, I can't believe there's not a 7 ongoing Metamorpho series.
Sure,
it's like, well, you're never going to get that. I'm fine to have Metamorpho show up for 3 issues over here.
Sure, yeah,
that's good for me. And I'd be fine with Mother Panic that way, but Mother Panic was never like my favorite from Young Animal. Like, I liked Cave Carson a lot.
Yeah,
I'd rather see more Cave Carson.
I mean,
Shade was interesting. That was a good take on that character and that idea, and you know, but yeah, Mother Panic's good in this, but that's about it, I think.
Mother Panic, all the times have come. And you know that you're the only one to say, okay.
You mean Sister Christian, but with Mother Panic?
Yeah.
Hell
yeah.
Pour some banana in milk.
Stop.
In the name of love.
Is it hot, sticky, sweet?
No, it's cold, sickly sweet.
Yeah. From your
and I
bottle.
feel it in my sheet.
Oh, I feel it in my. It's sticky. It's sweet, and I feel it in my feet. I think it's called diabetes.
Oh yeah, or gout.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Big Bear, not Donaire.
No. Have you been to the new restaurant?
Not the restaurant yet.
It's nice, little pricey.
Sure, that makes sense. New place like that's going to be pricey.
Yeah.
The liquor store is awesome.
Liquor store's amazing.
I love the recommendations of like, this goes with whitefish, this goes with red.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Like they've really pulled off, I think, what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah, it's smaller than I thought it was actually going to be.
But I think it's because the whole middle section is storehouse. It's like warehouse.
Oh.
They have their own like store, storeroom there.
Sure.
So that whole middle section of that giant, this is so inside baseball, the White Horse new liquor store. But that's what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Sure.
Anyway, whatever. Fucking comics or something.
Yeah. Let's talk about infrastructure
Yeah.
of White Horse. Instead.
Welcome to the White Horse Buildings podcast.
Yeah. Look, I am on the Chamber of Commerce now.
We know.
Well, I don't know if they know, but
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Not really. I do this for you.
Yeah.
Big Bear asks, apart from Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, who else would you have chosen to be in the comic?
So we do see the other members of the Justice League of America in like milked form. There's got to be a better way to say that.
Yeah, we see them all fully milked.
I mean, Black Canary milked is not a thing I've typed into Google.
Come on, rule 32. Rule 34.
Rule 32.
Oh.
Yeah. So we see them. They show up as, like, in the first bit of this book, Happy Harbor is this, like, perfectly pleasant, fine, like, Leave It to Beaver kind of place. Except Milkman Man is going door to door forcing people to drink more milk.
Yeah.
And then the Doom Patrol shows up, and they're obviously, Flex Metallo has no shirt on, and Robot Man is a robot, and they're on the case. They want to stop retcon. And so then the Neighborhood Watch, or what do they call it? Like the Community League of Rhode Island shows up.
Yes.
And that is the Justice League. So Carl Lobo is Lobo in like a sweater vest with a little pipe and shit like that. Mari McCabe, Vixen is there. Not everyone has like an other identity, like the Father Bruce thing, but they show up in just this very kind of like 50s sitcom-y versions of themselves until Flex Mentallo uses his power of muscle mystery to break them out of the milk fog.
Milk fog.
But who else would I want to see in there?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it might be cool to... I don't have pitches, but I mean, just insert, like... Martian Manhunter thing where he's like trapped in his own thing of his own making a little
But also, maybe he's trying to put Chacos in milk.
Oh, fun. That's what snaps him out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, that's who I was.
Yeah, the only way to snap him out of it is to give him heroin. The source of his power.
Look, one drug for another.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess, the story is only so big, and we are talking about, like, it's like mostly an assault on the archetypes of heroes. I feel like the Justice League of America are sort of like they get milked because they're in Happy Harbor, and that's like a place to like
get milked
to attack, But I feel like the real targets were Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, right? Like even the way retcon talks about them as like archetypes or whatever. Eventually, I think the plan was that the whole world would be eventually homogenized this way, but they started there.
Sure.
Yeah.
My dreams, the whole world gets milked. All right. Next question comes from Lilith, who asks, the Young Animal line was set in main continuity.
Yes.
But somewhat in its own corner.
Yeah.
Sectioned off from everything else. Do you think the inclusion of the Rebirth JLA was an attempt to bring them a bit closer? If so, do you think it worked?
I mean, yes and no. I don't know that the plan was ever like, and then we'll definitely see Cave Carson show up in like Green Lantern or like, I don't think the plan was ever to like have them fully integrated forever, you know what I mean? But I do think it was to like tie them together a bit in the way that things like Swamp Thing and Constantine were sort of tied to DC very loosely in the 80s and that. Like when you read like Swamp Thing 50, right? And Swamp Thing and Constantine are there, Zatara dies. We're talking about the Great Darkness. It's tied to Crisis. But like Constantine and Swamp Thing are not like mainstays of main DC. Sandman is obviously in continuity, but it's, it has these like specific connections to Dr. Destiny and Martian Manhunter and all these kind of other things. The Infinity Inc. and Dr. Fate are all connected eventually to Sandman. But Sandman is in its own thing. I think Young Animal was always going to be more or less its own thing, but this is just one of those moments to make these little connections. So I don't think the plan was like, and if this goes well, you're going to be seeing Shade the Changing Girl in issues of Aquaman.
Sure.
I don't think that was necessarily like the thought. I think it was just, they're technically we know how these things are set. Let's just make little connections just to give them a little bit more of an anchor point. I think that's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next question from Jaffe, who asks, how valid is Milk War's thesis? Just stop drinking it.
No. This milk got to go.
I'm like My farts are so bad over here.
Oh my god, I'm close to finishing this milk.
Yeah, in your mouth.
I'm close to being fully milked.
There's a trailer that or like a RV thing over there.
Yeah.
And on the side of it just says "Mud Men Finishing." It makes me laugh every time I see it.
I'm not mature.
Nope. You'll see it now when you drive by.
Yeah, obviously.
It's right on the corner.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Jaffe asks, how valid is Milk War's thesis about the homogenization of comics?
Yeah, I mean, I think the metaphor holds. Now, obviously, in the book, when we see homogenization, we're seeing that Leave It to Beaver 50s thing. That's not the book saying that the problem with comics is they're all like the 50s, but it's a metaphor for, we're smoothing out the edges. We're making a thing that is largely inoffensive or innocuous or something like that. There is obviously, when we have conversation, we talk about mainstream or whatever.
Yeah. There
is always something relatively down the middle, something relatively lowest common denominator. That's not always a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's a bad thing when everything is that.
Yeah.
So what are the different versions of that we've talked about over the years? Sometimes it's about art style, not enough kind of variation in, whatever. Sometimes it's about 47 Batman books and 3 other,
Yes.
Sometimes it's about, whatever, right? The types of people creating comics, too many white male creators. Yeah. Like all of those things are different forms of
homogenization.
That idea of that well-intentioned or maliciously intentioned or otherwise, you end up smoothing out the thing and it's less art and more commerce, right? Now, it's a creative field. Comics are art inherently. So what the book is getting at is that these things are largely incompatible. So in the book, Prime Earth is this kind of wild, chaotic thing, and Retcon is trying their darndest to make it pleasant and fine and easy to sell, and it just does not work. It right away doesn't work. Like they're never even close. Like the whole time they're basically trying to close the deal before like there's, I think even MangaCon says like, you got rats in the walls.
Yeah.
They were never even close to succeeding.
No.
It was a losing thing. And so what is the thing that Retcon does? They go like, fine, we'll just nuke it.
Yeah.
We'll just wipe it out. We'll start fresh. And like that's that kind of callous capitalist thing of like, well, this isn't doing exactly what we want. We'll never release Batgirl, or we'll fire a bunch of creatives, or we'll whatever, sell off the rights, or it's too much hassle. We're just going to, instead of kind of fostering the thing for what it is.
Sure, yeah.
I don't think it's a perfect metaphor, you know what I mean? But I do think that it's speaking to just the inherent tension of being creative, of creating art, not only for a corporate entity, but in a system where your storytelling is serialized, where it has to keep going, where it has to sell certain numbers or you don't get to do the next one. And there's it's also like the perpetual motion machine kind of piece too, I think those are all kind of valid things to bring up. I think you could probably quibble about the efficacy of different bits of the metaphor, or like, is that a bit muddy? Is that like,
sure,
is that as clear as it could be? But I think generally the stuff that it's talking about is, you at least you feel the sense of it when you read it, even if it's not like a 1-to-1 or something. You go like, I get what they're getting at. Yes. I know what this is.
Exactly.
Like, it's all recognizable. You go like, yeah, like it's
totally
very relatable, I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
Next question from Yokro, who asks, it's Yokro? Who asks, what other fluid wars would you like to see in the future? Personally, I would like to see the Miralax War. And have you ever had to shit either during the act of or before dicking down? Summer of dicking down.
Yeah, you're really shoehorning that in there.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a few questions in there. Yes. What kind of fluid wars would I want to see?
Piss wars, obviously.
Piss wars, interesting.
Yeah,
I was going to say cum wars.
I think we're the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, Drowned Earth was just like Water Wars, kind of. I will say I've noticed a lot lately that all these like big arcs coming in different books. This is at DC and Marvel. Everything is just like a thing and then wars. Like there's the Joker War, and then in Blue Beetle we're gonna get the Scarab War. I think this one is a little more tongue in cheek, like Milk Wars. But so many of I feel like that phrase of using war is a little overdone. There was the Robin War. There was the War of Jokes and Riddles. I feel like that's a little overdone. What other fluid? I mean, you could have... No, never mind. I stopped myself. I was like, you could make it more multiversal, and you could have Bleed Wars. Because of the bleed. And
then you realize.
I backed off.
Yeah. I don't think that...
Good for monthly comics. I'm sorry.
Fuck, that's good.
I'm sorry.
Motherfucker, that's good.
By the way, I have finished the banana milk.
Oh, God.
I feel weird.
Yep.
I don't love it.
Yeah, you did this to yourself. I have zero empathy. I'm going to shit myself when you leave.
Hell yeah.
If I make it that long.
Nice.
All right, so...
oh, sorry. What were the other parts of this question?
I mean, you don't have to answer them.
Oh, have I ever shit myself or almost shit myself?
Well, have you ever had to shit either during the act of or before dicking down?
Not in like any way that was dangerous.
I don't know if danger is the word.
I'm sure it'd be like, I could go to the bathroom and then I get distracted on the way.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, oh no, oh no.
I've definitely been in a position where I haven't because of it.
Yeah, sure. But it wasn't like this wasn't like a raunchy comedy thing where you're like, I gotta do this quick because I gotta shit.
No, it's more of like, I kind of have to shit and I just don't want to have sex.
Yeah, and I don't know how to broach it with
the missus.
Yeah. I don't know if we're ready for that.
Yeah, no. I will say, having to kind of pee a little bit makes it great.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, big fan of that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, so just imagine how good it would be if you had to shit.
The man's right, he's right.
Oh, God.
Next question.
What, the summer of dicking down?
I don't know where that came from, but I'm not against it. I was a supporter of it last summer.
Well, yeah.
I was dicking down last summer.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. From Butt Fart Butt, who asks, oh, sorry, you didn't. No, it's okay.
Does that sound mean something to the dog?
I do it when he actually farts and then he gets embarrassed.
Oh, buddy, it wasn't you.
It wasn't you. It was okay.
It was me.
If anything, it was me.
Yeah. It's okay, buddy.
Butt Fart Butt asks,
hey, buddy.
Oh, there you go.
It's all right, bud.
Yeah, there we go.
You're a good boy.
We're talking about my dog.
Good boy. I'm just scratching Richard right now.
Yeah.
You're a good boy.
Thanks, Daddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Butt Fart asks.
I know. Now you're excited.
Still
talking to Richard.
Was the Milk Wars the only crossover from the Young Animal imprint?
Ooh, I mean, I think so. I think Jaffe talked about this a little bit on the Dockscord. Unless you count, some other characters just like showing up later, you know what I mean? Like technically, Joe Mullane, like Far Sector, that's part of Young Animal. It's not in this crossover, but that was a Young Animal book. Joe Mullane is just in main Green Lantern stuff now. She was in Dark Crisis and that, but that's more just because Young Animal as an imprint doesn't exist anymore, and that character has made it into like a lot more stories.
Yeah,
the Doom Patrol has a new series out right now. Like they exist. At any point in time, Cave Carson or Mother Panic or Shade the Changing Girl or Eternity Girl or any of that could show up again.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think there were any other like kind of formal Young Animal crossovers, not that I can think of offhand.
For sure. Okay. Next question from First Mage, who asks, what is Final Heaven, and how does it fit into the cosmology of the DC universe? So we do see the cosmology of the DC universe on an image a couple times in this.
Yep, we do. And
is that Morrison's map of the?
That is Morrison's map of the multiverse from Multiversity, which gets used in a lot of stories and is more or less still accurate now. Although the orrery is now infinite Earths, but I still think the idea of the sphere of the gods and that's still intact. I would say that in this book, we get a kind of definitive location for Final Heaven. So it's outside kind of space and time. It sort of looks like the top of the building from the Lego movie. Like, it's like a part of an office building with like pipes and shit. But Final Heaven is essentially in the overvoid, which also known as the monitor mind, which is sort of just like the timeless, endless expanse of empty space outside the omniverse. It's the place where all fictive ideas come into being.
Crazy.
So we see the overvoid in Final Crisis. We see the overvoid in death metal. We see it in a few different places, but Final Heaven is in the monitor mind. I don't know if they moved it there or if it started there, but that's like almost 100% where they are. We kind of see it in that bit where like all of reality is dissolving, when they kind of nuke reality and like the panels come apart, and that we get some interesting kind of stuff with Eternity Girl, who's popped out of panels and then pops back in. Rita Farr, who has been trapped like fictionally in the DC universe, crawls out and rejoins the Doom Patrol. And even at the end, they go like, "I don't remember you being there, but you must have been." Like Elasti-Woman is. We only see these kind of like little snippets of Rita Farr in a movie, like in other stuff, and then eventually she crawls through panels and that rejoins reality, and they go, "Were you part of this event?" And they go like, you must have been." And she's back on the Doom Patrol again.
We even get to see Robot Man as the human, and that's sort of, he ends as a human.
Well, yeah, so retcon nukes reality, and all of this kind of stuff happens. We see the overvoid and all this stuff, and then Batman says, "Flex Mentalo, we need your power of muscle mystery to save this." And he goes, "I don't think I could ever flex that hard, but there is one thing I've never tried, and it's what does he call it? Inflation something." Hang on. He goes, the electromagnetism of endorphins. They say it's a power beyond muscle mystery, but even if I inflate it, it might not be enough not to do everything alone. Inflation intensity.
Yes. What I love is that they all inflate, which they don't really explain how.
Well, I think just, by proximity to Flex Mentalo,
what's really funny is the way they all look inflated.
That panel of they all look like Bouncing Boy, basically. Yeah.
It's very funny.
They all do inflation intensity, and it rebirths reality.
Yes.
Not in any like major kind of retcon way, just that it comes back and Rita joins.
Yes.
But yeah, so like that's kind of fun and interesting. But yeah, Final Heaven is in the overvoid.
Nice. I like the Ubervoid.
Easy. Easy.
One race.
One void.
Last question from Drago the Black Rose, who asks, should I go out of...
Excuse me.
Yep. That's what I'm doing, but from behind. Are you going...
Okay, I just want to say, so this is like a milk drink.
Yes.
It's called Milk to Go. Like milk, and then a two, and then go. That's fine. The French name for it is a pun in English.
What?
So the French word for milk is lait.
Yeah.
This is let's go.
But that...
So only the word lait is in French, but then it's an English an English contraction and an English pun. So it's milk to go or let's go.
So wait, does that mean that is go a French word too?
I mean, the French do use the word go a decent. I mean, it's not a French word, but you'll hear like French people go like allez go.
Sure. And then maybe like,
or like on y go means like we're on our way.
Sure. And also maybe in Canada. I mean, this is probably a Canadian product.
I mean, that's more of a French thing, frankly. Oh. But I'm sure they do it in Quebec too. But
interesting.
Yeah. At any rate, sorry, I'm thinking about milk. Call me Milkman, man.
No.
Call me Milk Daddy.
Oh, okay. Milk Daddy.
Yeah.
Drago the Black Rose asks, should I go out of my way and read this? Also, is there any extra reading in need to do, or is this a standalone?
So if you want to do some more reading, you could read like all the Young Animal books, but the only thing you really explicitly need to read would be the Doom Patrol run that leads up to this. So the Gerard Way Doom Patrol run, I think there's a couple of volumes that come before Milk Wars. And even then, you only really need to read the second one, but it's worth reading all of it because it's a fun book. I like this book. I think it's good. I mean, obviously some people don't dig it, and that's always going to happen. But I think it's fun. It's colorful. It's silly. There's some great like action bits. There's some
great art.
Some great art. There's this awesome, like, if you read it digital, you don't get to experience it, but there's a really cool fold out panel of Flex Mentallo's muscle mystery power when he frees the Justice League from the milk.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's really cool and neat. There's neat kind of stuff that we haven't talked about in here, but there's some neat like use of like canon and lore and stuff. We've talked about it on the show before that like comics are the windows into reality, right? Yeah. In the multiverse. Well, they use that in this book. Crazy Jane has an alt personality that can make her own paintings come to life.
Super
and they go
powerful.
Maybe it's not just your painting. Maybe we're all art somewhere.
Yeah.
And they use these powers in kind of creative new ways, which is super fun. I think that stuff makes this book totally, even if you're kind of like, whatever, like retcon, like whatever, that kind of shit. If you are tired of the story, I think there's still like new fun pieces to this, and it's colorful and silly, and there's some like heart moments in there too. The art's interesting. I think there's a lot you would like in this story if you just kind of go in to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, totally.
But
not really a lot of like reading you have to do.
No. I mean, if you wanted to, you could read Doom Patrol leading up to it.
Sure.
But really, you don't require much. And frankly, even if you didn't do that, this backs you up. It'll talk about all the God of Superheroes. It'll talk about, the child of Casey Brink and Terry Nunn. It'll catch you up to how that's a nothing of nothing. Like
I came in cold and I like got there eventually.
Like you technically it's also pretty self-contained, which is kind of nice.
Totally.
All
right. Well, we would love to hear from your resonance. We are done with FANAGAR.
That's it, baby.
Which means we go back to regular scheduled programming next month.
Yeah. July. I believe is what you called it last year.
So, laser beams, weather control.
Manipulation of the media.
That's right. I mean, living proof.
You're not helping.
But if you want to send us a question for next week's episode.
I don't have a theme. You know what? I'm always doing this shit. You pick a theme for next week.
What?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, you didn't drink your milk, so this is what happens.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to shit? Is that what's happening right now? Are you shitting? Oh, fuck. Damn it. Son of a bitch. I can't believe this has happened. Damn it.
Oh, you think you could just throw that shit at me?
Fuck.
You think? You think that?
Let's see what we got here.
That you're just going to be able to do that to me? I don't think so. There's something in here that's worth bringing up.
I would love if there's nothing that gets you out of this. Richard got the coupons, by the way. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, this would actually would have been good for this one, but I don't need it. Oh, yeah, that'll work.
Let's see.
I'm going to fucking reverse Uno card, you motherfucker.
Okay. Richard has handed me the Bizarro.
Yeah.
Redeemable to switch seats and roles for the app. From asking questions to running the game to editing and producing.
So if you want to put this on me,
But does that mean this episode?
No. That's next episode.
I don't know. It kind of feels like it means this episode. So I'm gonna need the file at the end of this so I can do the edit. Yeah. If you've got questions for next week's episode, what theme do we have for them?
No, that's not what I meant for the next one because
You're the doctor. What theme do we have for next week? We've got a theme. We've obviously got a theme.
How did I shoot myself?
You know the theme.
How did I shoot myself in the foot this
time? I know you got one for it. Let's have it so we can get those questions.
Of course I have a theme. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I have a theme?
Yep.
Why don't we do an episode all on Starman?
Starman. Hey, look at that. Everybody wins, baby. Hell yeah. So you can send those questions to our various social media outlets, including Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast,
Reddit,
Dr._DC.
The doc phone is always open.
208-917-3238.
That's 208-917-DCEU if
you're nasty.
We've got a website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
Send us an email.
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
And if you like us this much and you want a little bit more and also you want to give us money, you can hit us up over on Patreon.
That's right. We've got a $5 level in which you can... No, we've got a $1 level and a $5 level, all which give you access to the Discord, or what we call it, the Doc Scored. You're
doing great.
Thank you. I'm sweating. Might be because I have to shit, but for $5 a month, you can get access to all of our back episodes. We are at like 300 probably of those by now.
Yeah, the double dose.
Yeah, the double dose, which comes out once a week. Yep. Plus, we've got extra video content, theme polls, lots of cool shit like that.
There's also a $7 level.
Oh, yeah. $7 levels. I forgot. I'm really part of those.
Send us reviews. Give us those 5-star reviews. If you're giving them to us on Apple or on Facebook, that's great. We'll get them right away. If you give us a 5-star review, if you give us a 5-star review anywhere else, take a screenshot of it and send it to us. We love getting those reviews. Obviously, remember to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts so that we come up right in your feed. And if you enjoy us here, you might like to check out our other podcast.
That's right. Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW's Supernatural. We're in season 7 right now, halfway through. We're more than halfway through. It's getting really exciting. It's worth checking out. And we've got a Discord for there, too.
And that's it for this week. Say goodbye.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast. Fucking really fucked myself. God. You fucking Uno reverse my Uno reverse.
You goddamn right I did.
Motherfucker.
You goddamn